Join me today as we talk about getting caught at a Coldplay concert. Not looking too good for that CEO. Sometimes you just got to play it off, dude. Obama, was he involved in the whole Russia hoax? Biden, he gave some directives about the auto pen that you should be concerned about. The Wall Street Journal, did they fabricate the whole Trump signature thing on that birthday card? And Trump finally told AG Pam Bondi to go ahead and release everything she's got on the Epstein files. Some judges got to approve it, though. We'll see what happens. Stick around. You just might learn something. Welcome to the Eric T Conversation. I'm Eric T. Well, the big news that's gone completely viral is the astronomer CEO, Andy Byron, that got caught at a Coldplay concert with his director of HR, Kristen Kobat, in an embrace when the kiss cam went on them. It is a viral video. I mean, just look at them. The camera comes on them and they just lose it. I mean, how more obvious can you be that you are doing something you shouldn't be doing? And look, any guy would tell you, they got caught because they acted like they were completely guilty. I mean, look at the girl that's laughing on the right. She's beat red. She knows what's going on. She's mumbling to her like, oh my God, I can't believe we just got caught. But listen, it was a concert. It was a Jumbotron at Foxborough. Nobody was going to see that. But as soon as they jumped up, he pushed her away. He's got down. She turned to the back. She walked off. Then everybody knew the jig was up. And then the lead singer of Coldplay was like, oh, these two are having an affair or something's going on. They're having an affair. Yeah, it's clearly they were having an affair or doing something nefarious that they are doing behind the people's back. So here's the thing about it. Now, all the women are all like, oh, they're supporting the guy's wife. You got to take him to the cleaners. Girl, you get what's yours. She's going to be so rich after she leaves him and takes all his money. It's like, dude, nobody knows what's going on. I mean, the guy was having a private moment with another lady, and apparently they're both married. She's married as well. Nobody gives a shit about her husband. Not one person is saying anything about her husband. Poor guy. No, it's the poor wife. It's such double standards in America. So all these women were reaching out to the lady because it takes about 20 seconds for people with AI and Google reverse image search to find out who the hell this guy is. And they did. And people were reaching out to his wife to the point where she completely took off her Facebook and shut it down and all of her social media, which is sad. I mean, it was a private moment. It's nobody's business. It's not, guys, America, it's not any of your business what somebody does behind closed doors, whether he's having an affair behind his wife's back or she's having an affair behind her husband's back. It's nobody's business. But America feels like they needed to tell the guy's wife. But nobody cared about the woman's husband, which is completely ironic. Nobody cared about that guy. It's just the wife. Look, and then he comes out with this poor press release explaining he was having a private moment and that he needs time to reflect. Dude, you blew it by acting like you were guilty. If you just stood there, did it like a fist pump, the camera would have been off you. Nobody would have been the wiser. Maybe you would have got recognized. Maybe not. I mean, I don't know who the CEO of astronomy is. Do you? Nobody does. Nobody knows who the CEO is. It would have been a moment in time. They would have been like, oh my God, I can't believe we're on a Jumbotron. We could have got so busted. But you didn't. But you know why you got busted? Because you acted like you were guilty from the second you realized you were on camera. People, come on. Biggest thing, here's a newsflash. If you're going to do that and run around, maybe you don't go to a concert in a skybox with your girlfriend and bring other people with you that know that's not your wife or your husband. Do it like, sit in regular seats. You got to be, incognito under the radar. But man, it is blowing up the whole internet over this. Everybody's talking about it. And I'm surprised President Trump hasn't brought it up. But then again, he knows he's been the other guy, so he knows what's going on. But come on, leave the poor guy alone. It's none of y'all's business what he does behind his wife's back. It's not anybody's business. And you know what? Who knows? Maybe they have an understanding. Maybe their relationship isn't that good. Maybe he's not getting what he should be getting from the wife. Who knows? Who knows? Is it right? Is it wrong? No, it's obviously not right. But come on. Give the guy a break. You're trying to ruin the guy's life over a moment in time. He looked like he was having a good time up until that very, very moment when the camera got on him, man. Holy, imagine that ride home with his girlfriend. Oh my God. I would have just left. I would have left the concert. I would have left the concert. I would have left. But next time, guys, you're on a kiss cam. So, guys, here's the lesson to learn. If you go take your side piece to an event, make sure you're not on the kiss cam. Don't act so cozy that they want to like put you on the screen and wear a hat, glasses, a mustache if you don't have one, and be incognito. Because if you don't, it turns into a firestorm of hate from people who think you're cheating on your wife. Well, that's my observation of the day. Now for the conversation. So today, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, released a 114-page package of a document that implicates former President Barack Obama and his administration in manufacturing and politicizing the intelligence created to create the false narrative of the Russia interference in 2016. You know, the whole election hoax. Okay, it undermined President Trump's campaign for the first 2 years. So what's going on is the pre-election intelligence. Okay, December 8th, 2016, the draft of the president's daily brief stated Russia and criminal actors did not impact the U.S. election results, suggesting no significant Russian interference. The draft was reportedly pulled after new guidance never reaching the president. Okay, after the whole election, following the Trump's 2016 victory on December 9th in 2016, White House meeting involved Obama, CIA Director John Brennan, the FBI Director James Comey, and the DNI James Clapper allegedly let and revised an intelligence assessment. The January 6, 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment claimed Russia conducted an influence campaign to help Trump, contradicting earlier findings. So in other words, they knew it was false. They had the information it was false, but they decided to hide that information anyway. Okay, and then you got the Steele dossier. The documents highlighted the use of the Steele dossier funded by the Clinton campaign and the DNC. Now, that's illegal in itself. You can't use to create something false narrative against your political opponent and using campaign funds, but nobody's getting charged with that. We'll see, but nothing has happened with that. So it contained unverified allegations of Trump's Russia ties. Despite the questionable credibility, it was used to brief Trump and included as an appendix in the classified 2017 ICA over objections from CIA analysts. In other words, they knew it was wrong, they knew it was false, but they let it out anyway because they wanted to get Trump. Gabbard described the Obama administration's action as treasonous conspiracy involving high-level officials aimed at orchestrating a year-long coup against Trump. She has referred the documents to the Department of Justice for potential prosecution, including of Obama and Comey. So this is a huge thing that's coming out right now. And that's why they didn't want Trump getting into office, because they knew with the people that he's going to put in there, he trusts them. And these are people who are going to dig for the actual facts that are going on with this. But here's the thing that everybody on the right wants to know. Is anyone going to go to jail or be accountable for all of these actions? Let's hope so. We're still in the infant stages of this whole administration. We're 7 months in, and these people had to get into their roles at the department, at the FBI, at the CIA, at the Department of National Intelligence. And they had to sift through a lot of bad apples that are in those departments. They had to get rid of them, get people in that are honorable, that they can trust, that'll do the right thing and not hide or destroy evidence. I think it's going to take about another 6 to 8 months till we start getting people arrested for these things. And if anybody's involved in that, if Obama's involved in that, he should be arrested. I know, a sitting president, look, and Trump will pardon him. That's what will happen. If anything happens to Obama, Trump will certainly pardon him because it'll look good to do that. But there needs to be charges brought up on any individual, whoever it is, that had any hand in orchestrating this coup against President Trump. Because you got to understand, those first 2 years, we had the House and nothing got done because people on the right, especially Paul Ryan, who was the Speaker of the House, didn't want to work with Trump because he thought he was put in there by Russia. So nothing really got done the first year Trump was in office as he was fighting all his allegations. But he still managed to do a pretty damn good job with all of that. And then COVID hit. So you guys got to start understanding that this stuff goes deep and they're peeling off layer after layer after layer to find out what exactly happened. And that's good for our country because people that did this to our government need to be held accountable, whoever it is. And the whole Epstein thing is still taking another turn. Trump just told his AG, Pam Bondi, to go ahead and release everything we've got on Epstein. Go ahead and release the grand jury testimonies. So they're going to do that. So today, AG Pam Bondi filed a request to release all the information that was held in the grand jury that's been sealed. Now, that's up to the judges now. The judges are going to have to allow that information to come out. Hopefully, they will allow that information to come out. Everybody can read the transcripts of the grand jury testimony, because everybody knows what the grand jury is stuff that they use for the prosecution. So that's all going to come out. Jeffrey Epstein's no longer on this planet, supposedly. He's gone. So if we can get that information out, that's a step in the right direction, trying to heal in this MAGA party, because they are so pissed off about everything that this stuff needs to come out. And all those people that are upset about Trump's truth that he put out there and then later went to X and his little tweet about being angry with the people that were supporting him. He doesn't need the support if they don't believe him, can't move past this Epstein thing. He wasn't talking about you and me. He wasn't talking about the people that pulled the lever for him. He was talking about people like Glenn Beck. He was talking about people like maybe Charlie Kirk, talking about people like Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, those people that have shifted 180 degrees from Trump and bashing him on not releasing all this information. Those are the ones he was talking about. I don't need you anymore. He wasn't talking about you and me. He still loves all of us. So you misunderstood what he was saying. I know that's what he was saying. He didn't mean you and me, because he knows we butter the bread, right? He knows that. He was upset at all those talking heads that are on the Turning Point USA conference last weekend that were talking about the whole Russian thing over and over and over again. Steve Bannon. People like that, he doesn't need them anymore. If you're going to be that way about it and not trust the process with Donald Trump, and I'm kind of over it. I'm turning the page on this whole Epstein thing, because it's been beat to death. He's going to release these files, and it just keeps getting more and more intertwined. Now we got the Wall Street Journal comes out with a hit piece on Donald Trump. He told them, this is not accurate. I did not do this note. So what happened was, there's a note on Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday. Everybody gave him like a bunch of notes. It was in a photo album or something like that. And this has been in their possession, I guess, for 10 years. It didn't come out last year during the election. It didn't come out 8 years ago when Trump was running the first time. But it just happened to mysteriously come out now. So what it was is Trump with a little note, put two little lumps in it to look like women's boobs on it, and he made some statement in there, and it's something that didn't even sound like Trump would even say it. Now, he warned them, and even the press secretary warned them, this is not true. We're going to sue you if you release this information. Rioters that are involved in that article with the Wall Street Journal, they've got certain ties to certain people, going back to Russia hoax incident. So they are friends with Glenn Simpson. Glenn Simpson is the actual person that owns and founded Fusion GPS. Now, Fusion GPS are the ones that fabricated the Steele dossier for the whole Russia hoax paid by the Hillary Clinton campaign. See how it is? You see how I start peeling back the layers a little bit and you start finding out who's really involved in all this? I think the Wall Street Journal knew it was wrong, and they were going to do it anyway, because they need something to get them going. They need something to start feeding their machine, so they can start getting some more coverage and get more hits on their website. I think they weighed their options. I think they said, you know what? He sued CBS, 60 Minutes, Stephanopoulos, CBS, ABC. He sued all these companies. He's won every case. He's won them all. You know, $8, $10 million, whatever it is. I think the Wall Street Journal took a calculated risk, and they said, you know what? If we get sued, we'll settle out of court, $6, $10 million for defamation, and we'll move on. But we know we got it out there, and we got our big hit piece on Trump, and we got people reading our site again. That's what I think they did it for. It's exactly what I think they did it for. There's no way you're going to tell me you sat on this for 10 years. There is no corroborating evidence on this. They don't know where this photo album came from. They don't know where the information was stored. They don't know who created it. They know nothing about it. And they knew it was fake. And today, Trump just dropped a huge lawsuit on the Wall Street Journal, and they're going to have to pay up. And I hope he doesn't settle. I hope he doesn't settle this time. I hope he takes them to the cleaners, and I hope he makes them pay $150 million or whatever astronomical number he can get out of them for putting something like this out. Because this just tells me that you're coming out with this information at this point in time, that you don't care about the victims. Now the left is like, you know what, we can spin this because they got the MAGA parties all split up. The Republicans are all in a frenzy over the Epstein files. We should hit them with this now. So you got Hakeem Jeffries coming out. Oh, we need to release this. He wasn't saying jack last year. He wasn't saying jack the last 4 years when Biden was in the administration. No, he wasn't saying. Now he's saying it because they're jumping on the bandwagon. They think they got something here, but they have nothing. And I think Trump knows there's nothing there, and he doesn't care. That's why he's letting it brush off his shoulders. So I'm turning the page on this, because when them coming out with this information now, that proves to me they just jumped the shark. If you know what that means, they just jumped the shark. They just ended themselves by doing this, because it completely destroys their credibility from now on, because they allowed something like that to go to press. And there are deep ties with the Russian hoax. You peel off the layers, people, you find out what's really behind it. And they just wanted a hit piece to get it out there, which means nothing. The signature doesn't even match Donald Trump's signature. And everybody in the world knows what Donald Trump's signature looks like. He's obviously very proud of it, because he uses it to sign his executive orders in front of the world on national TV all the time. We all know what it looks like. We all do. I can close my eyes. I can see it in my head. So the signature didn't even match that note that he put in the photo album. Come on. There's got to be a there. And this time, there isn't one. So today, I am turning the page on the whole Epstein thing. They filed it. They're going to get it released. And if they don't get it released, that is 100% the judge's fault for doing that. Hopefully, the judges will see this is a huge problem and we need to release it to kind of squelch all of this infighting with everybody. The guy's no longer here, and the victims can hopefully get some justice, because that's the most important thing. And right now, they're making it about Donald Trump when it's not about Donald Trump. And when you put out information like that, a hit piece on Donald Trump, that tells me you don't care about the real story with Jeffrey Epstein. You don't. You don't care about the victims that were involved in that. You don't care about the underage kids that were trafficked by this individual. You don't care that there's a woman in prison right now because she was involved in that and got indicted, got convicted, and she's serving time over all of that. You don't care about that. You just wanted to get Donald Trump. So that alone tells me it's time to talk about something else. So that's it with the Epstein stuff. Unless something else new comes out, I'm done talking about it. Unless something cool comes out and I got to talk about it. But other than that, I'm not going to talk about it. The auto pen that I keep talking about is going to sink Joe Biden. It's getting bigger and bigger by the day. Now, the report that came out about the auto pen, in an interview, Joe Biden said that he gave directives to his staff of what to look at when you're giving somebody a pardon. So his large blanketed pardons that he was giving, he didn't actually designate any individual. He just gave a kind of a wide criteria what they should look for, and his staff members individually sought out the people to pardon, and they used the auto pen for that. That's not the way the Constitution works. The President of the United States has to give authorization and has to approve the use of his signature. And he just stated he didn't do that in many circumstances when it was dealing with mass pardons. He said it in a news article. These are the things that they're trying to find out even more, and these are huge deals. There are some people like, oh, he's out of office now, it's been 7 months. You don't care that somebody else was running our federal government, the highest power position in the world, was ran by committee? That could have been what was going on, that a bunch of staff members was sitting behind closed doors, yucking it up, deciding who gets pardons, what executive orders get signed, what are we going to do here? I mean, this is what they were doing, allegedly. So I think more investigations need to go on that. And Ted Cruz is all over that. He's all over it. He's going to find out exactly what happened, because we need to find out who was running that machine. And every single staff member that's been brought in front of the Senate to testify, every single one of them has pled to the fifth when they've asked them, did you know President Joe Biden was mentally impaired, his cognitive decline? Were you aware of that? Were people hiding that? They all pled the fifth. You don't plead the fifth if you're not trying to hide something. So they're going to dig deeper. They're going to find people they're going to give immunity to. That's how you go through that. That's how you get past the old Fifth Amendment for not testifying against self-incrimination on yourself. You give certain people immunity. They're going to find a weak link. They're going to find one, and they're going to press that person, and they're going to start singing like a canary, and they're going to find and get to the bottom of what was going on with the auto pen. Because I get it. Presidents use the auto pen all the time, and is allowed to be used when the president gives authorization and the president knows what's being signed with his name on it. And Donald Trump has used the auto pen. So as every other president before them, going back like 100-something years, they've used some type of auto pen. But you have to know what they're assigning. You can't just give your aides a blanket directive and they just go find the people and then sign your name to it. That's not how the Constitution works. Hopefully, we're going to find out exactly what happened, and those people are going to be brought to justice. We can't have a country like that. We can't have a country like that. We can't have a banana republic where people are just running amok when in the highest power in the United States, just doing whatever they want because it's an old man. He's not paying attention. And he goes to bed at 8 o'clock. How do you feel about that? If you're an American citizen, whether you're on the left or the right, how do you feel that someone's running the show besides the person who you voted for? I think every Democrat should be pissed off about that. I think every Democrat should be pissed off about the whole election process to begin with. As soon as he stepped down, he said he wasn't going to run again. They just inserted Kamala Harris. They didn't even have a primary for you guys. You don't think you could have found somebody a little bit better than Kamala Harris to run for president against Donald Trump? I think you probably could have found somebody better. She was a terrible candidate. She barely got 1% out of her own home state when she ran in 2016. She didn't make it to the first primary, I think. You don't think if you would have had an actual primary from the very beginning, whether it was too late or not, you still should have had one. You could have had a 3-week primary and got somebody a lot better than Kamala Harris. And you're not upset about that? You just focus on Donald Trump and he's just a horrible human being when he's actually doing great things for this country. Like right now, he just signed the Genius Act, which is huge crypto legislation, which allows stablecoins to be used for transferring funds electronically through our Fed system and everywhere else. Cryptocurrencies is the way of the future. It's going to happen. And what the stablecoin is, it is going to strengthen our US dollar because the dollar has gotten weaker over time. But now you have to use stablecoin to transfer funds, which the stablecoin is pegged 1-to-1 with the US dollar. 1-to-1. So a country that's going to use stablecoins to transfer money to us has to use dollars to purchase that stablecoin. That's great. That puts our country way ahead of some of these other countries as far as crypto. Because electronic fund transfers like this, through using crypto and the blockchain, are the wave of the future. Just like AI is going to be handling everything. Unless you work with your hands, use a hammer or nail, lay tile, lay drywall, put on shingles on a roof, you're an electrician, a welder, plumber. Unless you're doing a job like that, you're going to be out of a job. Coders are not even going to be needed anymore. They're going to need somebody that knows how to actually give the directives for the AI, and they're not going to need you to program anymore. They're just not going to need you. 5 years, they're not going to need you. But this is the way it's going. So the way we're transferring funds now, it's going to be electronic. And for all of you that think that, oh, well, Donald Trump did it so he can hide money, you can't hide money on the blockchain. If you don't know anything about crypto, please don't comment about it because it is on a blockchain. It is a chain that every single human being that has access to a computer can check the blockchain and find out where all those funds are moving to. So if we send aid to Africa and we use our FedNow system and we use it through using a stable coin, RLUSD, or some other stable coin, you're going to be able to track that in a blockchain, and you're going to know that money went to Africa. And you're going to know if it leaves Africa and goes anywhere else. That's how you're going to know. So it's 100% traceable. It's quick. It's fast. Transfer funds in seconds instead of weeks and days. It works Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week, 24/7. You can send funds electronically. This is a game changer for the crypto industry and for our country. And then we got the other two. We got the Clarity Act, which is going to let you know where the cryptos fall, if they fall under the CFTC or they fall under the SEC. That's huge. There's going to be actual criterion what you're allowed to create when you create a cryptocurrency. You know, all these crazy rug pulls that you get for cryptocurrency, those are going to be gone. You know, bonk, meme coins that are, just people just create them out of thin air to kind of make a huge rush of money, then they close them up. Those are going to be gone. There's actual regulation now that's going to take the Wild West and it's going to start making some rules on it. And that's a good thing. And then the biggest one is the anti-CBDC Act, which everybody concerned about that with a CBDC, a central bank digital currency. Listen, all those people in the back, listen to me. We are not having a CBDC. They just voted on an anti-CBDC Act. So your money's not going to be traced. All that money, a CBDC, we're not going to have one. We have stable coins that's going to be using behind the doors. Visa, MasterCard, companies like that need to transfer money quickly. They're going to be using crypto coins to transfer the money. Because here's how it works. So right now, when you use the SWIFT payment system, banks, cross-border payments, bank in the United States to a bank in Europe, Right now, you got to use a SWIFT payment system, and they just switched over to ISO 2022, which is a messaging system. It's data rich, so it gives a lot more information. It's a little quicker. But what's going on with it is that it takes days to transfer money, and it only works Monday through Friday. It's closed on weekends. It's very slow, and you can only do so many transactions a minute. The deal with cryptocurrencies, what makes this so good, is that it's going to transfer funds within 3 to 5 seconds. You can do it 24/7, 7 days a week, very, very low cost. Some of these cryptocurrencies like XRP, if you start using it on the XRP ledger, it's like a 0.000002 cents to send money over. Banks are going to use that. It's going to save banks billions and billions of dollars utilizing cryptocurrencies. And what that does is that transfers over to you guys. They're going to have more money to lend, okay? Their rates are going to be lower, because they're not going to have to fund everything so much, because they're not wasting tens of billions of dollars on fees just sending money back and forth. But a CBDC is not going to happen in the United States. So all the back end is going to be using a stable coin to transfer money. So Visa and MasterCard, American Express, MoneyGram, Western Union, when they start transferring money, they're going to be utilizing that behind the scenes. You're not going to go and have to use a CBDC to go to the store, because remember, there is an anti-CBDC act. We're not going to have that here in the United States. Now, some countries have them. Some countries are going to have them, but we're not having that here. So quit worrying about the whole regulation on it, that they're going to watch everything you do. All that money is going to be transferring behind the scenes. When you use your credit card and you make a payment, it's now going through the FedNow system. So that payment's going to go very quickly through the banking system. Now you're not going to be able to float a payment. So now when you make a payment, it's going to go through immediately. So make sure you got funds in your banks. Because, sometimes you can pay a bill on Monday and it really doesn't clear till Wednesday. Not anymore. Those payments are going to be clearing instantly, 3 to 5 seconds. So make sure you got the funds in the bank, because that's the way it's going. So when I don't have a CBDC, you don't have to worry about it. That's null and void. That's been axed 100%. But crypto is here to stay. And right now it is booming. Booming right now. I kept telling everybody, if you're going to get into it, you go, when it dips, don't panic, don't sell. I have friends that, they were thinking about selling it because they put so much money into it. I'm like, don't sell it. It's going to come back. And sure enough, XRP dropped all the way down to like $1.93, and now it went all the way up to $3.63. Bitcoin hit like $121,000. These coins are going to be utilized for the banking system within America, and they're going to be huge. You're still not too late. This is not financial advice, but you're still not too late to start investing a little bit into cryptocurrencies, because 30 years ago, people thought the .com was never going to happen. Oh, internet, nobody's going to. Look, you use your internet all day long on your cell phones, all day long. And because of that, because the information that we have at our hands, the Senate just voted to get away with cutting NPR and PBS $8 billion. Yes, I get it. I grew up with Big Bird. That's Snuffleupagus, by the way, who is his imaginary friend. But when I was growing up, he just was gone every time Mr. Hooper or Gordon came around the corner. Snuffleupagus was gone. And I guess it disrupted a bunch of kids' lives in the mid-'80s, that they finally made Snuffleupagus visible so people can see him, because people didn't understand. Kids didn't understand why he was always gone. I remember watching Big Bird talking to Snuffleupagus, and then I'm like, Gordon was around the corner, and he's coming, like, he's right there, come on in. And then when he'd come in, Snuffleupagus was gone. But now he's like a regular on the show. They make so much money selling Big Bird, Elmo dolls, everything else from Sesame Street that was on PBS channel. They could probably fund PBS forever. Let's be really clear on that. And a lot of these networks are being used by the left media to distort propaganda on one side. And that's not the way it is. But these channels were created to give people who didn't have access to like cable or television, free television access to the bare minimum. When there's an emergency or something happens, they can get the information out. Everybody's got a cell phone. My mother, God rest her soul, had a cell phone that she can use to go on the internet. My mother-in-laws have cell phones. They're online all day long, texting me articles that they saw. Everybody gets news at their fingertips now. We don't need PBS and NPR to get news anymore for free. Everybody in the world has it for free. And if you live somewhere and you don't have a cell phone, I don't know, what planet are you on? Because we all do. So those news organizations were created for free news sources for people who couldn't necessarily afford them. That's why they were government funded. We don't need that anymore, do we? Because right now, I can find out what's going on. I can get an Amber Alert anytime a kid gets kidnapped. I can find out some terrible accident that happens somewhere. I can find out when an earthquake happens, a tsunami hits some other country in Japan. I can find everything out at the seconds after it happens. We don't need it anymore. So everybody's crying about that. Sesame Street's going to be okay. They make a lot of money. They make a lot of money for that show by the stuff that they sell. All the other stuff, they can try to figure out a way to fund themselves because America doesn't need to foot the dime anymore for news propaganda from only one side. Well, that's it for today. Join me next time for a little chit chat, some observation, some good old fashioned conversation. Thanks.